Asking why can get you stuck in a mental loop, in a loop in life, in a way that you feel resentful towards yourself, others, life, even people who don't deserve your resentment. It's just sometimes not the answer to keep on asking why. So let's talk about this. I'm Vanessa. If you're new here, welcome. If you're returning, welcome back. I feel like this is a topic that has been orbiting me a lot the last days. That's why I want to get onto it, because I feel like it's a collective thing. I went out to go to the dog park this morning with the doggy, and there was a guy who was I was starting to have a conversation with, and then he got into telling me about an experience that he had with his dog in the dog park. Without getting too much into it, I feel like it was not such a difficult experience, or who am I to judge on the other hand. But he just got stuck in the loop of why did this happen? Why? And I also had some friends ask these questions or wonder about it, and I also had some clients wonder about it. And sometimes we will never know why. No matter how hard your experience was with somebody else, with whatever situation, and now you may say, oh, you don't understand, this was so hard, I need to know why. Do you really need to? What is it gonna change? Is it gonna make you feel better? Is it gonna make you feel worse? Because sometimes really, and I know that a lot of people don't want to hear that, and this may trigger you hardcore right now, so take a breath. We don't have a fight. I'm not your enemy. I actually want to help you through this. So sometimes the answer is not to ask for why, because it's actually going to put you on a journey of constant analyzing, constant going into why did this happen, no matter when, no matter what, no matter how hard that experience was. More important is what happened within you, knowing that this experience happened. What happened within you? How do you feel about it? Does it make you sad? Does it make you angry? Does it make you frustrated? Do you feel betrayed? How do you feel? This is so much more important than knowing why, because we cannot control other people. We cannot control what happens outside of us most of the time. We can try, but that may sometimes make us feel helpless. And not having the answer to why may make you feel helpless, frustrated. You may put your life on hold. You may feel like without the answer, you cannot go forward. But I disagree. What's more important, and I repeat this because it is so crucial, is to feel what happens within you because of what happened. Not because why somebody did it. You may never understand, and I get that this is frustrating. But just know that sometimes people do things because they are not okay. They are hurt. They don't know how to act. They are traumatized. There's so many reasons why people act like they do. And in 99.9% of the cases, it has nothing to do with you. Yeah? Adults can take responsibility for their actions. But if they don't, that's what they decide to do. And that's horrible. But the why is not what you should focus on. You should focus on, at least this is my take, on feeling the feelings within you that were created when that experience happened, or when you heard about what happened within you. journal out, like understand those feelings, name those feelings. You can Google emotional wheel and just find the word that relates to what you're feeling about this experience. And either sit yourself down and feel it, but sometimes if something really difficult, really heavy happened to you, then it's good to work with somebody on it. So get a professional or have at least a friend to hold your hand, or do it alone. But I'm just going to say, like, with caution, that sometimes alone it's hard to process. I put a video up on that as well if you want to check that out. And it's so much more important to acknowledge the emotions, like the rupture that happened within you throughout that experience, or by hearing about what happened. Yeah. So that is so important, because you need to feel that part of you that got hurt. And when we don't do that, we get resentful at the world, at other people. You may feel resentful at me right now because I'm sharing that, and you may say, you have no idea what I'm feeling, what I'm going through. Yeah, but maybe I do. I've gone through my fair share of horrible experiences. And I ask every time, why? Why is it like this? God, why is it like this? But that never brought me anything, never brought me anything. And sometimes the why is completely different than we expect, you know? And even if we find out that is something that happens naturally, even like in a simple thing like, or simpler thing like a breakup, and we don't understand why that person betrayed you or broke up with you or doesn't want you, you may never know why. And it's not, you know, it's not going to help you much to find out, especially not in the beginning. Then it's so important to feel what is happening within you because of that experience. Feel it, understand it, focus on that, because that will allow you to move forward, to take small steps forward. It will not make you feel like a victim or a helpless in that situation anymore. You know, and yes, sometimes we are victims, especially if you've gone through like a very difficult, traumatic experience, or through severe abuse or something like that. Then I'm really sorry for you, and it's important that you get professional help, somebody who can really support you through this. It's so important. And then I completely, you know, the feeling like a victim is completely justified. But often we feel like a victim, or we are keeping ourselves in victimhood. In other cases that aren't that severe, like in a breakup, or, you know, losing money and all these kind of things, losing a job and so on. And yes, you may have been treated unjust. I get that. And that really sucks, and I'm really sorry for you. And that's not right. But if we stay in that notion of I'm all alone and I'm not loved and I'm not wanted and I'm the victim, you know, please don't get me wrong. I don't mean to say that you were not, if you feel like a victim, it's justified. All your feelings are valid. But if we get overly identified with, you know, like that term and staying in that, you know, sometimes it's going to hold us back. It's going to hold us back from moving forward in life and, you know, living the way that we want to. It's going to hold us back from making our contribution based on what we learned, based on what we don't want other people to happen, you know? Sometimes this is exactly the task that we get when let's say something horrible happens to you, and there is never a justification for that ever. But when that happens to you, you may often feel like helpless. You may sometimes feel like, what am I going to do now, with my life? This happens to you, and then you get stuck in that loop of what happened to you. But how can you find purpose again? How can you move out of this? And it usually starts with feeling the feelings, the rapture, the wound. Feel the feelings within you. And then realize, make your mission that this is not going to happen to anybody else again. Make your mission around something that you don't want other people to happen. For me, it's like, I don't want people to feel like they are not, that they are not important. I don't want people to feel like they cannot be themselves. I don't want people to suffer. And that's why I do the work that I do, because I don't want people to suffer through their mental narratives, because often it's like that. Yes, it's true, something happened to you, and that's, like how you feel about it is valid. But then our mind also keeps us stuck in those loops with telling ourselves the same narrative again and again and again. And often even it's like nobody else has suffered. I'm not going to be understood. Nobody gets me. Sometimes we tell ourselves those things, and I told myself those things in the past as well. But what does it do for you? What is the benefit of that narrative for you? Because honestly, at some point I realized I'm not getting anything out of, this is not helpful. It separates me from connecting with other people. It only nurtures the feeling of shame and guilt and loneliness within me. And I realized it doesn't do anything for me anymore. For a while, I guess in my teenage times, when I talked about kind of my difficult experiences, I felt like I would get attention from people, and that made me feel seen and heard, or more important to some degree. But this is not right, because then you're not being fully yourself. Then you're leaning onto the crutch of what happened to you to be seen and to be heard and to be acknowledged. And I'm not saying this is you, I'm sharing just a personal example. And again, there could be a million different examples here, but I just felt called to share that. And at some point in my early 20s, I realized I don't want to be defined by that, by those experiences. I don't want to be defined by what happened to me. I'm so much more than what happened to me. What are the gifts that I have developed due to what happened to me? Emotional resilience, psychic abilities, sensitivity, kindness, compassion and empathy. What do you take away from the difficulty? A sense of not giving up, a sense of I don't want people to suffer ever again, and this may sound naive to you, but, it's hard to get to that side. I never said it's easy. I never said it's easy to move through that victim stage, move through that anger stage, move through all that stages and arrive in your authentic self where you integrate those difficult experiences and emotions. It's not easy. And I've had also, people tell me sometimes, it's not as easy as you think, Vanessa. And I'm like, I know. It's not easy. And if I make it sound easy, I'm sorry. I don't mean to, dismiss anything or anybody ever. That's not my intention here. My intention is to let you know that there's a way out. And it starts with feeling and not, putting yourself in that situation that makes you feel like you cannot move and you're stuck, right? Like, I know how that can feel like, and it really sucks. I get it. It's really uncomfortable. And sometimes we even find that these situations, because they are so familiar, like behaving like that, feeling like that, like there's nobody else for us, and we're all alone in this, or we're not understood. If we constantly feel like this and retell this narrative to ourselves, this is what becomes our reality, you know. But if you realize there are other people who've also had so many difficult experiences, yeah, and if we open up and actually acknowledge others, and that others may have gone through hard things too, and it's not a competition. It's not a competition of what's harder and less harder, you know. We may have different experiences, but they're all valid. And we're not here. Who are we to judge if one situation is harder than the other? That is ego. And that's not right. You know? And it makes me really, really sad sometimes when I see people who, you know, are in this looping narrative of, yeah, but you don't get it, you know? Because this is how we separate ourselves from everybody else, from connecting, from integrating those difficulties, from realizing, opening your heart and realizing I'm not alone. I'm allowed to speak about this. I will not be shamed when I speak about this to the right people, may I say. And why I dare to say that is because I've gone through hard things too, and I felt this way too. You're not alone. If you feel like this right now, I get you. It's so hard. It's so hard to even break out of that narrative of I'm alone, or nobody gets me, or I'm not accepted and I'm not loved. And, you know, then sometimes that can feel so familiar and more comfortable to be in that narrative and in that negativity than to actually allow yourself to wonder and get curious. Wow, I'm sure there must be, like, there's 7-8 billion people in the world. I'm sure there must be others who have had difficult experiences. Let me seek them out. Let me show my brain that I am not alone, in fact. That there are people who will hold space for me, that I am acceptable and lovable, you know? Because your brain tells you those negative loops. And I'm not invalidating your experience. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying all your feelings are valid. And if you've gone through difficult stuff, no matter what degree, I'm really sorry for you. I feel you, and I'm really, really sorry and that this happened to you. And take a deep breath, because you're not alone. And if you feel alone right now, I get it. I get it. But don't fall victim to your mind that constantly tells you and reinforces negative loops and negative narratives in your mind. No matter what happened to you, there are people out there who want to support you, even if you don't know them yet. And this is not some cheesy BS that I'm telling you here. I know that to be true. And maybe it's a task for you to seek them out. I mean, on the internet, there are support groups all over cities. If you want to leave a comment and say, hey, I'm struggling with this, does anybody feel the same? Do that. We're a community here as well. You know, you're not alone. This is my biggest intention, that people feel like whatever is going on, you can just, you know, show up and ask for help, and also, you know, be seen as who you are. But do it in the way that is not dismissive of other people's experiences. Yeah, because sometimes people can be like, so in their narrative that they dismiss what everybody else is going through. Yeah, and again, this is your brain. And we're looping those narratives in order to make ourselves feel safe. And that's sometimes when we are in, like when our nervous system wants to keep us safe, we're in the freeze response, or we're in a, often, when we go through difficult things and we feel like we're all alone, or we feel a bit like depressive or anxious, we often get into a freeze response. So freeze response means that you, like you're often at home, you don't dare to try new experiences or connect with people. You just swim in your little safe haven you've created for yourself. That is like what you know, and you're telling yourself the same stories again and again and again because it's safe and comfortable. That's at least perceived safety. It's familiar, let's use that word. But it's not necessarily safe. And to get out of that freeze response, we need to make slow movements, go out into, the park, ground our feet, maybe ask for support, search for support groups, sometimes even on the internet, just starting by reading about other people who went through difficult things, you feel less alone. Maybe then you can dare to go to a yoga class and realize, okay, I went to the first one. It wasn't so bad. People did not stare at me. Maybe I can go back. Or I try another one because I didn't really feel so comfortable in this one. Or, whatever it's going to be that makes you comfortable. I go to a bookshop, I browse around. Maybe I buy one, maybe not. Maybe I ask the person in the bookshop to recommend me something, and that already feels big to connect with that person. Yeah, like do small little things that help you feel like you belong to the world, because we all do. We all do. Even if your mind tells you something else, even if you're right now saying like, I don't belong here. You wouldn't be here if you didn't. Really, like literally you wouldn't be here if you didn't belong here. So it's about, listening to the narratives you're telling yourself. Because when we're so identified with those stories, we will think, I'm not worth it, I'm not enough, nobody needs me, all these kind of things. I'm not wanted, whatever it is for you. But you need to realize this is what your mind is telling you. And you're not just your mind. There's so much more that is not your mind. And when you start realizing that, you're opening up to your potential. You're opening up to new perspectives, to opportunities, to starting a different life. And I want that for you. I want for you that you step out of the prison of your mind. Because most people don't realize this because we're so identified with our thoughts, especially if we spend a lot of time by ourselves, that this becomes our reality. But you can step out of it. And a really incredible way to do that is breath work. Why? Because it quiets your prefrontal cortex, which is the logical part of your brain, the brain that you're using right now listening to me. And you're actually getting access to your limbic brain, which is the place where all your emotions and memories are stored. And when you get in touch with that part of the brain, you can have old memories come up, you can have realizations come up, you can release emotions that you've been storing in your body, in your system. And it just brings you so much realization and wisdom. Lord, that's incredible. That changed my life completely when I started doing breath work. So I can just recommend you, if you want to join a session, we do them every month online, so you can join from anywhere in the world. Give it a try. I guide you through the whole process. It's really, really life-changing. When I did the first few times, it was absolutely life-changing, and I still do it all the time for myself and with my clients. So if you ever want to join, click the link below. The next session will be online, in the start of August. So you can sign up. It's super affordable, 15 euros, which is like, I think $18 or something like that. So if it feels right, join us or ask me about it. You can do it from your bed, from your couch, from anywhere. And if you don't know how to start, this is a great way to start. You don't even need to leave your house, you know? And we're going to be a group, we're going to be in community. You can show your face, you don't have to. Take one little action. You're not alone. And if you struggle with something, share below and ask for help or ask a question or, yeah, open up because you deserve it. You're not alone. Okay? That's it for today. Let's all take a deep breath in through the nose, sigh it out through the mouth. I know this is a heavy topic. I get it, but it's important to talk about. Yeah. And if this was really triggering for you, feel into what is happening within you. What are the emotions that are coming up right now for you? Me talking about this. Do you feel misunderstood? Do you feel angry? Do you feel frustrated? Do you feel like powerless? You don't know how to start? Write it down. Feel it through. You can also use the emotional release meditation that I have below. I mean, you know, it's on you. Try it. I cannot do more than advise you, but you have to take the action. Okay? All right, I love you. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't yet, subscribe, and I see you possibly in another video. Ciao.